G'day, guys, and welcome back to another Wednesday night. Very good to have all you here. I see there's quite a few people in here already, and yes, it's been a very interesting week. So tonight we have a special guest from Kansas, Mark from the Fit and Fire channel, a fantastic YouTube channel. His link is down below in the description, so please go and sign up and subscribe to his channel. He makes some great videos. So I've been on his live stream a few times now, and he's nice enough to have me on. It's been a lot of fun talking to him. So he's a very nice guy, very cluey about the firearms. So it's going to be a fun night. So before we start, please hit that subscribe button. Let's get those subscribers up. We're pushing closer and closer to 10,000. So let's get those subscribers up, give it a thumbs up and share this video. And after the video, to help this video out, please lay a comment in the down below in the comment section. Will be much appreciated to help push it up with all this YouTube crap. So I will bring the boys in. We've got Jason here as well. Good evening, guys, and for Mark, good morning. It's about 4:30 in the morning for you.
There we go. Got the mute off. Yeah, a little bit more, a little bit early for me here. Haven't been up this early in a little bit, but I've got my Go Juice and we're ready to go.
Yeah, so you gave me a bit of a text this morning saying, "Oh, did I miss it in your one day out?"
Yeah, my daughter had 2 days off from school. She had Friday and Monday off, and I lost all track of time. I couldn't remember what day it was.
That's good. And hello, Jason. How are you?
Welcome. We were going to say the only good thing about Joe Biden right now is he's actually going to ruin the US dollar against our dollar. So that'll be good if we want to purchase things from America. So
yeah. There you go. There's at least some silver lining to everything, right?
Well, I do think our ammo is a little bit cheaper than yours.
Yeah. Seeing that it is almost to the point where it's worth its weight in gold at this point. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, well, we've heard Winchester is putting up their prices by 15%.
Mm-hmm.
So have you heard that over there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It went up, I think, 10% just a few months ago, and then it was going to be increasing again. I'm interested to see that now that Remington is starting to produce ammunition again, whether or not that is going to influence the market in a positive light. Obviously, with more supply, hopefully the prices will tick down just a bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Not holding my breath on anything.
Well, over here, when Remington was sold to Ruger, they changed wholesalers. So importers here are a different company now. And they've got, I think, the same ones that import the Federal. So the Remington, I was told by a gun shop, the Remington products, their cleaning products and that, are basically half the price now when it's been taken over from the old company. We're all wondering what the ammo prices are going to be like. Because as you and me have talked before, you know, everything in Australia costs a fortune.
Yeah. But I hear you guys have some really great beachfront property.
Yes,
if you can afford it. If you can afford it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were talking about too, weren't we, Aaron? Last week we get so many inbox messages. Well, what's going to happen if the Australian dollar becomes stronger against the US dollar? Will our prices, drop in response to that? And then we get literally a week later, one company already putting their prices up by or about to put up their prices by 15%. So we're like, as they say, prices always go up, they never come down. And it's like, mate, you're talking, it could be anywhere from, 20 or 30 cents in the dollar. It might be back like 2012 under Obama, where it was actually for a little short time, their Australian dollar was actually worth more than the US for a very short period. So it was a good time to be Australian, to buy overseas and take advantage of some of those deals. So, which, makes sense. Yeah, shooting's getting more expensive. A lot of people are being priced out of the market. Unfortunately, can't afford to shoot, can't afford powder, can't afford ammo. Things are just getting more and more expensive, and you've almost got to have a bloody good job these days to be able to afford to shoot, really, especially in large volume, probably like some of you guys over there. And I watched some of your videos tonight, and you know, you guys are certainly going through some ammo. So I don't know if we can afford it over here.
So it's interesting that you bring up what happened in 2012, 2013, because we did see a spike in ammo prices. And for some reason, 22 long rifle, you couldn't find 22 LR to save your life. And if you could, you bought it up for no reason whatsoever. And what we saw was that prices spiked up and was like insanely high. And then things calmed down, things came down. Even under Obama, prices came down, but the bar had been raised to a point. So instead of let's say like 9mm, for example, instead of it coming back down to like 18, 20 cents a round, it stayed somewhere between 25 to 30 cents a round. And that's what I think will happen this time. Our prices spiked up. It's anywhere between 60 to 75 cents a round right now. Once things calm down, production gets back underway, and people stop panic buying, then it's going to come down. But I would imagine it's probably going to be somewhere between 35 to 40 cents a round. And that's going to be the new normal, so we'll probably see an overall increase of 10 plus cents per round once things calm down. But that's still you're talking probably 12 to 18 months away at this point now because of what happened last year.
Yes, it's our prices here are definitely gone up a bit, I dare say. And I'm just lucky I got so much backlog I've had sitting around for ages. But powder's a big thing here, and reloading components are getting very scarce.
Primers are they're gone. You can't find them. If you can find them, then it's like Christmas on Christmas, so it's Christmas squared, I guess.
So let's go through some of the before we start. Let's go through some of our stuff first. Oh, there goes.
Goes my mic.
That's happened to us before, don't worry. I was interesting. Matt Cato said here, he goes, righto, Jace, what have you bought lately, mate? I live vicariously through your spending. Mate, I've had to really tame my spending down because things are getting a bit nuts at the moment. Need to start saving some money. So I haven't bought anything at the moment. I'm good where I'm at. I did buy some 2209 powder. Got my mate to get it for me, 4 kilos to feed the beasts again, the 243 and the 260. So let's go through it. Aaron, who we got? Our buddy Colin Penfold. We've got Paul 84, Nick, Jason Howard, hopefully no relation to John Howard. Nick Blackwell. We've got Chris Miller, our buddy again, of course, down there from Victoria. ART 0540. Yep. Joseph Sherman, a regular as well, I should say. LJ's Adventures. Joe Morgan. Who else we got up here? Carbon-based Lifeform is back. JR, our regular as well. JR, one of our listeners, probably since the beginning, JR. Harps 666. What else we got? Who else we got here, guys? We've got Peter Robertson. We've got Joe Morgan, Griffo 117, Peter from the NSC. We've got Mr. Wonderful. Nice name there. N Salty's back as well. Aaron Johnson. Geez, who else we got? We've got Liam Cumbo's back. Dallas Wood. We've got Rod Sweetstar. We've got Sam Alfonso. Man, we've got heaps. And this guy's just getting way too big to read them all out at the moment. Retro 8477. Rob's Woodworking. Trevor Hill. Long Range Lead Slinger. Oh, Dave G. We've got Dave G. Downrange Threads. We've got Epic Flyer. Man, Lone Wolf. Sorry, guys. Way too many. Kieran 1999. Man, it's a great live stream tonight. And, of course, Overland 4x4 Australia, which is great to have you back again. He was a super chatter before, so just killing it there. And Fox 860 as well. And Matt Cato is back as well. So lots of people in the stream. Good stuff. It's like a small family these days. So it's really good. Really good.
And guys, get your questions out to ask Mark what you want to ask him. And, of course, if you lay any super chats, we will do our best to read those out. We will read your super chats out. So definitely do that. So get your questions ready to ask Mark because we've got a lot of things to talk about with him. So before we start, Mark, tell us about your channel.
Right. Yeah. So Fit and Fire was started almost 4 years ago. Holy cow. July will be my 4th anniversary. I had to think about that just for a second. But at the time, interestingly enough, is I wanted to start a YouTube channel on hunting because that was my biggest passion at the time. And once I started trying to film some stuff, I realized that I suck at hunting. I'm horrible. I am so bad that it would become a spoof channel at that point, So I sat back and thought about it, and reached out to a fellow YouTuber who went by the name 180-second Ideas, who is now Johnny Appalachia or Johnny B, and became good friends with him. He really encouraged me to do a channel and figure it out. So, it ended up being the two passions at the time, other than hunting, were obviously shooting and working out. So, my other good friend, high school buddy of mine, said, well, why don't you do something about fitness and shooting? And that's where Fit and Fire kind of derived from. Since then, I have really focused on the firearms element for the YouTube channel. And then most of my workout, exercise, fitness, all that type of stuff is kind of shifted over to the Instagram side. So if you're interested in either one of those, that's kind of how I divide things up. Unfortunately, right now, fitness is not necessarily a big priority right now. Healing is my biggest priority. I tore my Achilles a little over a week ago. So I'm slowly trying to nurse that back and get healthy again.
Well, you are getting older, and exercise is definitely bad for you when you get older.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a few more grays in the beard of late. So,
yeah. How old are you, Mark? How old are you now? How old?
43.
43.
Oh. Yeah.
A youngling.
Yeah. That's what everyone says. I don't feel young. I feel almost 60 at this point. I don't know what that feels like, but it feels old.
Well, I just turned 49 and I feel old.
Yeah.
In every single way.
Yeah.
And I've got to read out this one. He's very upset. We forgot to read out. He's given us a thumbs down. Old Andy 1234777, aka Daniel Andrews. Now, I guess for Mark, Daniel Andrews this is a bit of a funny thing, but Daniel Andrews is one of our premiers of Victoria, one of our southern states, and pretty much a left-wing state, a really good hunting state, lots of great people down there. But unfortunately, throughout COVID-19, Daniel Andrews was really pushing the police to stomp heads and a lot of bad shit going on. So we basically make a bit of fun of him on the show, being the premier of the Labor Party here in Australia for Victoria. So, yeah, we had to give a shout out to our buddy Andy 1234777. So you better turn that to a thumbs up, Andy. Otherwise, there'll be no future shout outs on the show. So,
and we got our first super chat. Chris Jace, how far off is the gun bag? It's sad taking the Lithgow out in a Tiga bag. Yes, definitely. That's an absolute insult to Lithgow Arms.
I know. I'm going to get it out this week. Aaron probably doesn't know what that means, but did I tell you I ran a Patreon competition and I gave a few things away. So yours is the last one to come out, dude. So if I can get it away by Friday, if I will. If not, it will be next Monday. So aim for the end of next week, mate, and you will have the Lithgow gun bag ready to go for you, man. And you better take some photos and send it to me about, what you're doing and being out in the bush or at home, and so I can post them up. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. And thanks for that, super chat. Much appreciated. So, as you know, Mark, our cultures are extremely different when it comes to firearms. You have a right and we just have, nothing, basically. And so we follow what you do with absolute envy, I have to say, because we all want to be safe in our homes, but we're just not allowed to be safe over in this country. So we'll start off in the beginning. So we've talked about about how we go around getting our gun license or buying a gun. All the hoops. We've talked about that. We don't need to go through that because everyone here already knows. They suffer every day with it. So when you want to buy a gun in Kansas, what do you do? And how easy is it or how hard? What's the go?
Well, it depends on how you want to go about it. One of the things that, one of the privileges, I guess, I hate to use that word, but one of the privileges that we do have when it comes to purchasing a firearm is if you want to purchase it from a private seller, then there's really nothing that you have to do other than say, is this price fair? Yes, this price is fair. Okay, it's a done deal. But usually that's going to be typically used market type of stuff. So interesting thing about Americans and firearms is used market is not as popular as the new market. Everybody wants a new gun, right? And if it's used, then they're going to try to undercut you by hundreds of dollars. It's like a $700 gun, and they're like, "Oh, will you take 500?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." But when it comes to a great example is I just purchased in the last month I've purchased 3 pistols. One I purchased online through Gun Broker, had it sent to my FFL which is a federal firearms license dealer here in the United States. In order for you to transfer a firearm across state lines, you have to have a federal firearms licensee to log that information in and get the background check. Once it arrived, he sent me a text message, say your pistol's in. I went over and filled out the 4473, which is the pertinent information, your social security number, address, are you male, female, or non-binary? That's a new tick mark on the form, and make sure you're not a felon and all that jazz. And then they run the background check. Now, in the state of Kansas, if you have a concealed carry license, then you don't have to do a background check because the background check's already been done. What they basically do is just write down the driver's license number off of your card, put it into their file, and the FFL is good to go. Now, a lot of people's like, well, what happens if you commit a crime? Well, then you're then prohibited to purchase a firearm at that point. And it's partly integrity, but usually in those types of situations, the judge will say, do not try to purchase a firearm, because at that point, then that's just going to stack on charges on top of it. So a little long-winded, but you can buy online, have it shipped to your FFL, or the other spot is I go to a place here in town. We call it ACE, but it's American Cash Exchange. It's basically a pawn shop, but they have brand new guns. They just had a UMP 45, and I was like 5 minutes too late to buy it. But I have an HK.
Dream.
Yeah, I know. It's a pipe dream for me. But walk in, if they've got something, I'll say I'll take that. Hand them my credit card. Same process. Fill out the 4473, and I'm out the door. Yeah. So yeah, it's somewhat time consuming, but for someone like myself who's been doing it for quite some time, it's ended up being fairly easy. And that's one of the reasons why I was so quick to get my concealed carry license, is because it was going to speed up the time anytime I ended up purchasing a pistol or a rifle or something. Is just give them a copy of my concealed carry license and I'm out the door. So
that's
pretty much it.
And do you got to pay for your background check?
It depends. If you are having it transferred to an FFL, then typically, yes, it's about $20. But if you purchase it from a store who has something already in their inventory, then there would be no transfer fee. So that's basically the difference.
Yes. How long does it take? If you walk in like off the, you're not planning on buying anything for the day. You walk in there, you go, holy crap, there's that nice bolt action pistol, whatever it might be. How long from saying, yep, give me that, to putting the card down, to doing the background check, to like walking out with it? Half an hour, 3 hours, you come back later in the day? What do you normally do?
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because I have a really good friend that lives in the next state over, and they wanted to put together they wanted to build their very first AR-15. So I said, parts are hard to find, but I'll help you source all the parts. The hardest one to find was the lower receiver. Found one, shipped it to their FFL. They went in to fill out all the information, and it came back pending. And it took them 3 days in order for, was it 3 days? Yeah, it was 3 days in order for them to finally get their lower receiver. Now, the way it works is the ATF has 3 days, 72 hours to respond to a background check. If for some reason, like let's say something silly, like the home address that you put down is different than what they have on file, that could put a hold on that. Something very simple, and that's basically what happened to them. But after 3 days, if the ATF haven't responded, you go in and you pick up your stuff. So it could take up to 3 days. In some states, it could take up to 7 to 10 days. Depending on their laws. But for me, with everything that I've done here, it usually takes no more than 15 minutes. There's been a couple times where it's taken a little bit longer, but it's because it was the store or the FFL had a delay in getting in contact with the ATF. But like I said, now that I have my concealed carry license, usually it's right about 10 minutes. The CZ that I just bought, it took me from the time that I walked into the store to the time I walked out, took me 30 minutes. And about, I would say 15 minutes of that time was me to find the pistol and then to find an associate to help me get the pistol. So the rest of it was looking at ammo and then waiting for their process, their internal process to go through and then walk out.
It's interesting. Aaron knows this. I was renewing my license, but let's put that aside for a minute. People in New South Wales, in my state, basically new shooters because of COVID, and they were pretty woeful before that. You could wait I waited 1 year for my license renewal. People are waiting right now that have never applied for a gun license before. They're taking up to a year to get a gun license. Once the license is issued, you then need to get a permit to acquire. So you apply for a gun basically, or they send you a form saying, yes, you can have that gun. So you then take that in. Some states do it online. It's Victoria, actually, surprisingly, the state we're just talking about with Daniel Lange is actually pretty good compared to most. But it could take up to 3 months from getting that license to get your first gun. So right now in New South Wales, it could be up to 15 months before you even get the gun license, then the gun. Normally it's supposed to be a 28-day cooling off period and then a 2-week application period, and then from then and then you should get that back after roughly 6 weeks. Then it takes you got to basically do the same process again on your first firearm purchase to get that permit to acquire. So at best case scenario in my state, you're looking at minimum, say, around 3.5 months, but that's if you're on the ball, you get things back very quickly, you're like at the post office getting mail off and doing all the stuff properly. So it's just insane. Like, we would happily take 3 days. Like, give us 3 days. We'd be happy with that.
Yeah. It's interesting. I had to renew my concealed carry license this year. And because of COVID, they typically, what you have to do is you have to get the renewal application, you fill it all out, obviously update any type of home address or whatever. Then you have to go to a bank or something and have a notary, certify that this is your signature. Well, the state of Kansas is like, no, we have this separate affidavit for you guys to just to sign to say this is you and this is correct. You don't need a notary. So just send that back in and you'll be good to go. I'm just like, oh my goodness. So because of COVID, the process ended up being easier than before. And it's like, well, why is that process even a thing prior to COVID. I mean, that makes no sense. If you can do it now that way, then why not before?
So, sorry, Jason.
I was going to say, yeah, one of our in the chat, Ropes by Psycho, is good. He said, my 15-year-old has been waiting 6 months for his miner's permit basically to come in. That's in New South Wales. So there you go. That's just for, like basically someone taking their kid hunting. I think it's 12 and up. We can get a license permit for a minor under the obviously supervision of a parent or guardian. And 6 months already waiting. It's just piss poor. Most people end up having to go see their local politician to get them to advocate on their behalf, to write to the politicians. So I write to the registry, I should say, the firearms registry in their state, to actually say, hey, what's going on with this guy's gun license? Why is it taking so long? Like, basically get to it. And then that's the only reason they start jumping, is because they got politicians writing to the government entity, which is the firearms registry, to say, hey, listen, stop screwing this guy around. What's taken so long? Issue it or don't issue it. Make a decision on it. Whether it could be something behind the scenes we don't know about, maybe a previous conviction, could be anything, could be nothing. And they're saying, well, hey, stop letting it sit there, get to it and hurry up. So at least we have some sort of a recourse to, get them to budge a little bit to a certain degree. But I guess if they don't really want to, they don't really have to. That's, we're paying for a service they won't deliver in a reasonable time frame.
Yeah. But how accessible are your politicians over there? I mean, is it easy to get them up on the phone or something, or?
No. If you write them a letter, it just goes in the bin. If politicians love gun bans here, it doesn't matter. Even the pro-gun politicians here, so-called pro-gun, they don't do anything, don't really talk publicly about it, because it upsets their constituents, and they will lose their big, fat, juicy paycheck and guaranteed jobs. So we just they just don't. No, they're not interested. We've sent letters and letters over the years, and just nothing happens. I've told the story before. I did a job for a lawyer for the Queensland government, and he's just retired. And he said, oh, you're wasting your time writing politicians' letters, wasting your time. He said they don't even, half the time they don't even see them, or they just go in the bin. Yeah. And they don't take any notice. When it comes to firearms, don't take any notice. And he said, remember, once they announce a gun ban, that's been in the making for months and months. And a lot of time and money's gone into it. They are not going to say, oh, because Mr. Joe Blow's upset by it, he's butthurt, we're not going to, we'll stop the gun ban. They're not going to do that. So it's just absolutely pointless. So we're lucky that people like the NSC, well, only the NSC, actually seem to be taking them to court and squashing a lot of gun laws, gun bans coming up, and they stop it at the beginning, which is really good. They're probably one of the only ones that actually do that. So, and I've got to say big thank you to NSC for sponsoring tonight's episode and bringing it to us. It's fantastic. But they're the only organisation I think that's really helping shooters at all.
Yeah, that people were really concerned about. It's interesting that you bring up how the gun bans or any type of legislation gets brought up, because here that is a life or death situation for a politician, depending on their jurisdiction. So if they're from California, they can vote for any type of gun law all day long. No one's going to care. But if someone from like Kansas votes for any type of gun restriction whatsoever, that's the end of their political career. They will not be reelected unless they are coming from a very heavily blue district. So if they're like from Kansas City or the Lawrence area, then they might be able to get reelected. But if they're out west in the western part of the state, no way.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we've had pro-gun parties in Australia where they've started to realize that talking about semi-automatics and self-defense is bad for their re-election purposes, especially with the general public, right? Not so much with shooters, but we've had politicians that have been elected on pro-gun platforms that over the years have started to become more liberal, as in like your Democrats over there in the United States, because our Liberal Party here in Australia is actually our Republican Party. Yeah, our Labor Party is our Democrat Party. So a lot of people get confused when they come to Australia and they say, oh, the Liberals, oh, the Democrats. I said, no. Our Liberals here in Australia are actually the Republicans, you know. So, and it's funny how our pro-gun politicians have slowly, especially probably over the last 4 to 5 years, are now starting to say a lot of the things these major parties are saying about, yeah, well, we don't really need semi-automatics, you know, that was gone years ago. You know, I don't want a pump action. I don't need one. I mean, they're getting caught out so many times. And when you call these people out on this sort of ridiculousness, they're saying, well, it's our fault, you know, like, well, why are you saying that? Why are we calling them out? It's like, well, we don't like gun laws. We want our rights back. These guys were elected on, they only do gun stuff. That's it. They don't do anything else. So why the hell are you saying that stuff? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yep. It's, our Liberals, who are meant to be our Conservatives, are the ones that brought in the major gun ban in 1996. They wanted to ban all semi-autos and pump-action shotguns. That was our Conservative Party.
Yeah.
So that's how crazy it is here.
And that's one of the interesting things, is something that a lot of people don't pick up here, even in the United States, with our politicians, is a Democrat isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some Democrats don't support any type of gun laws at all. The problem is people are conflating leftists, like the radical leftists, like AOC or Maxine Waters or those type of people, with Democrats, because they're just in the Democratic Party. But there's actually a bifurcation within the party itself. You have moderates, you have progressives, you have standard liberals, and you have then you have the leftists. And the leftists is starting to become a bigger and bigger cell. But what they do is, because since they are the vocal minority, then everybody just say, oh, well, you voted for Biden, then you must be a leftist, when that's not the case. And it's just the same thing with the Republican side, but it's a little bit more subtle about it, you know, like, you know, I'm considered a Republican, but realistically, I'm a libertarian, right? I just stay off my lawn and leave me alone, and we'll be fine. You do you, I'll do me. We'll be happy, you know. The biggest thing here now is what they're trying to do is anyone who is a Republican or on the right side of the political spectrum. Well, those people are the same people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, you know? So that's how divisive we're starting to become, is there's no middle anymore. It's either you storm the Capitol or you're AOC. That's how it works out now.
Do you think
the chat's there? Read them up first. You didn't read them out.
Yep. Okay, Jason, I'm stressing because my license is due for renewal at the end of the year. Hopefully it's not going to be a mess around with Victoria. And thank you for the $7, Jason. Appreciate that. Yep. Every time, Mark, when it comes to people getting their licenses over here, it's very stressful. You got all the paperwork, you send it all in, and they even try and get hold of your medical records. One slightest thing, boom, gone. Mm-hmm. If you've gone and seen a shrink over anything, forget about it. It's all over. And what the thing is, you just get a knock on the door by the police, and they come and take your guns. They just come and walk in, take all your guns, gone. And then it's thousands, tens of thousands to go to court, fight, get it back, and hope like how the guns arrive back in one piece, which half the time they don't, from what I hear. So that's very stressful for people when they apply for their new licenses. They don't know if they're going to get their guns back or what. So,
Mark will go to that next super chat, Aaron, from Epic Flyer. Before we say that, give it a thumbs up, guys. Let us know that you like the stream. It'd be great. Let Mark know he's a valued attendee here on the show. So do that. That'd be great. We've got 89. Let's at least crank it over to 100. And Andy 124777, if that's your one thumb down, you better bloody remove that as soon as possible.
We've had over 150 people continuously watching. So we should have more thumbs up. And subscribe to Mark's channel and my channel, and find Jason's channel in the description as well. All our 3 channels are in the description, so make sure you subscribe to them all. So here we go. Mark, airsoft is banned in Australia. This is from Epic Flyer. So we can't even have airsoft.
When did that happen? Is that something recent?
It hasn't actually started. We've never had it.
We've never.
I was like, oh my gosh, what?
Well, it's not really a ban because we never had it in the first place. They couldn't ban it because they just never allowed us to have it. And the closest thing is...
I was going to say, surprisingly, in New South Wales, where I'm from, I can own a 50 BMG sniper rifle, but most states, well, no, Queensland, Aaron can't in Queensland, but I can in New South Wales, but I can't own an airsoft airsoft tagger. Like, I mean, how ridiculous. This is going to blow his mind, Aaron. This is going to blow his mind.
Uh-huh.
You know, you probably, maybe in your area, you've got a paintball field. You play paintball marking. That's classified as a firearm in Australia.
Yeah. You got to have a license for it, and they're going to be locked in a safe.
All right, I'm going to let Aaron break a good one to you. Tell him about you probably already have, but tell him about the gel blasters.
Oh, yeah. So instead of airsoft, we got plastic toy guns, gel blasters, which are little balls that you hydrate up, and you just load up a toy gun and shoot with it. At worst case, at point blank, you might get a nasty welt. That's about it. The hydrating balls are what you put in planter pots and to keep water in plants and stuff like that. And you find them in disposable nappies, all banned. So basically, like I said before, in this country, a disposable nappy is a claymore because it's got thousands of these things in a little package. And they're banned. They're not banned in my state, but they are restricted in my state where you can't you bring them out in public and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, they're highly banned. You can get up to 14 years in prison over here for having one in the state. It's classed as a firearms charge.
And that's how ridiculous it's. I mean, we're slowly inching that way, especially with Biden's executive actions that people are really starting to freak out about until they figured out, oh, it's an executive action, so we're just not going to follow it, right? So, but one of the big things was a stabilizing brace. You know, you can't have an SB tactical brace on your AR-15 anymore if Biden has his way, and if you violate that, then it's 10 years or 10 years and $10,000 fine. Well, if that's the case, if the penalty is going to be the same as having a short barreled rifle, an SBR, then why not just put a stock on it? You're illegal either way. So you're now creating a situation where people are going to break the law. And they're going to break the law in a manner that makes the firearm more lethal. You know, what's the point? You know? So, and the other aspect of it is that the ATF has already come out several times and says, yeah, no, this is not an SBR. But now they're trying to reword it, and they have a possible baby killer that's going to be in charge of the ATF now. So, you know, there's that too.
Oh, the guy from Waco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a disgrace over there.
Which is he put on his Twitter profile that he is a proud 97%er. Which means in American history is if you are a 97%er, you were the people that couldn't fight in the revolution, or you supported the crown. So he's just come out and said that I'm a bootlicker and that I'm going to just basically be a cuck for the government, you know, so... Yeah.
Just feed me that taxpayers' money and I'll do what you want.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my questions before. Do you think some of these right-leaning Democrat senators you got really want to be Republicans, but they could only get voted in to get the big, fat, cushy paycheck and set themselves up. They're only in there because of the taxpayers' money. They don't give a shit about Democrats at all. It's just that is there for the money.
It is. But the interesting thing, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these Democrats, their reelection campaign ends up being funded by the DNC. So the Democratic National Committee is funding a lot of their reelection campaigns. So if you're not towing the party line, then you're going to end up losing a lot of money to get reelected. So yes, how does that gift go? Yes, but actually no. So yeah. So we have Manchin is a progressive Democrat who is he's the guy blocking the way on the filibuster for us. And if the filibuster goes, so does our gun rights. The moment the filibuster goes away, then they will ram through every piece of gun legislation that they possibly can. AR-15s are banned, AK-47s are banned, anything that's semi-automatic is banned. Basically, ball and musket at that point is what they're looking to do, because the Second Amendment's about hunting, not about anything else. But as much as I hate to support someone that on that side of the aisle, Manchin right now is our saving grace.
Yeah.
So,
and because you have a Second Amendment, of course, and we don't have anything. It says that you can. I've asked Hootie this as well. What can you do? It says that you can take up arms against a tyrannical government. How does that work without being arrested?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
January 6th is a prime example of what happens should you want to try to stand up for your rights. Not that I'm saying, by no means am I supporting or advocating anything that happened on January 6th. I don't care about that. But the problem is the media will then spin you into a right-wing, radical, white supremacist, whatever you want to call it. And you will be not only canceled in the public court, but the government will come at you with the full force of law enforcement. Now, a lot of people don't know is the people who were arrested for the situation on January 6th, most of all of the charges are being dropped. And the only thing that they can really get them on is like trespassing, which
It's a misdemeanor.
Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. Most of these inciting riot type of charges that they had, most of them have been dropped. So to kind of circle back to your question, realistically, what is going to have to happen here in the United States is a couple different things. Number one is we would have to organize into a militia, and we would have to be prepared to be dragged through the mud should anything happen to where you have to stand up and fight for your rights, whether that be in the figurative aspect or the literal aspect. You're going to get dragged through the mud, and you will be canceled. You'll lose your job. You could be arrested in some jurisdictions, depending on where I live. I have a couple of friends who are cops, so I kind of got my ear to the ground on anything going on here in the town, but I'm just waiting for that knock on the door. And I'm digging a spot in my backyard for my dog, have it ready because they're going to shoot my dog.
Got a couple of chats here. Probably just need to. I'll read
these up,
man, because we're going to be. This one's interesting one. I think I should take care of this, man. I advocate increasing the supply in the black market. Well, first off, we've got to say here at the show, we don't want people to break the law, okay, guys? We can't condone that. We can't do any of that sort of stuff. We can't even be saying this sort of thing. If it's easy to get, guns off the books, firearms, they'll back off. Better off to keep people on the books as an authoritarian. They're not having the data required for control. Well, listen, the interesting part is, I mean, they're pretty much already doing that. It actually probably is easier, and we don't condone that, obviously. It's actually harder probably to get a gun license than it is to get a gun off the street. It probably is. It's harder to get a gun license, and that's when the system, is pretty much broken in this country, where it's actually easier to meet up with Joe Blow around the corner, buy a gun off the street, than it is to go through this extremely arduous process of who is a fit and proper person. So that's where I think we've broken down a little bit in this country. But we don't condone anyone breaking the law, guys, or anything like that. The laws are shit. We know that. We've just got to abide by what we've got to abide by until at such time. Hopefully that changes with our advocacy. But you got another one there, Turin, from JR.
Yep. I don't call it shooting. I call it aromatherapy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Love the smell of the gunpowder. It is awesome.
Speaking of that, I've got a question too, but before we do that, before I go into my question, guys, put some questions in the comments. If you want Mark to ask some questions, now is the time. We've got about 40 minutes to go, so this is where it's over to you guys on what you want to ask, if you want to ask Mark some questions. But how are you going with powder, Mark? What's happening? Is there an abundance of reloading powder over there? Is it in short supply like pretty much we're seeing it over here, even though we make ADI powder here in Australia? So go figure. But I think you guys get it before we do, no doubt. So, and cheaper than what we get it for.
Yeah, I think right, wrong, or indifferent, the American buying power really kind of influences the market on who gets what first, So, but powder, brass, ball, all of that, easy to get. I can take 5 minutes down the road and pick up whatever I want. The problem that I have right now is primers. Primers they're non-existent at this point. Every once in a while, you might find a store that has primers, and they'll be gone in seconds, literal seconds. I've been lucky enough to, I guess, inherit, I guess is the best way to say it, about 1,500 primers, and that's my emergency supply. When ammunition is either so outrageously priced that I can't afford it, or it's just gone, then I'll go ahead and reload the last bit of 9mm that I can, and we'll call it good, and we'll just keep the powder dry at that point. But so far, reloading supplies not very difficult, with the exception of primers. So you can, and I will say that you can buy primers. You can go like on Gunbroker and buy primers, but it's at that point, and right now I haven't looked in a long time, but it's about 10 times the price. Easy, 10 times.
I heard people were even purchasing primers from their local shop, and then when they got a shipment in, and then they were putting them on Gunbroker for just make bank money. This is the problem when we go through COVID, or distribution stops or making them stops. I mean, you can really start naming your price. I think that's going to end pretty soon. I think we're in for a pretty rude awakening financially, especially the markets and so forth moving forward, and jobs and businesses and so forth. But Aaron, you got a couple of questions there. Just go through them while we're talking, see if you can bring up any questions for Mark. Here we go. Aaron, can you ask why don't some companies in the USA don't want to sell stuff to Australia when we are legally allowed to get them, i.e. stocks, aftermarket parts, or not internal parts? I know we can buy some stuff, but I mean, maybe Mark might be able to add something to that possibly.
So that I think has to do with distribution. Is that correct? I think that I don't think that there's a problem with American companies selling abroad. If they can, they will. But international trade policies really kind of dictate what they can and cannot sell overseas. I know for importation, ITAR is a big choke point for us. So I'm not sure how that works for you guys, but just in our conversation, Aaron, I think that in previous live streams, I think some of the distributors is where you guys get really mucked up on everything. Is that right?
Yes, definitely, 100% we do. See, we can have stuff, but you're not allowed to send it. We can have like these scopes and everything on your ITAR, but you just can't send it to us. So that a lot of people message me saying, "Oh, why can't I buy this?" I said, "Well, you got to check the ITAR. If it's on the ITAR list, you're not going to get it. They're not going to send it. We can have it, but you can't send it." And there's a huge fine if you guys send something on the ITAR list that you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
Also, I dare say this has got to do with just our population. There's not a hell of a lot of people shooting in Australia. I think there's like 1 million shooters. So why would like when it comes to you're low on primers? I've been told by a wholesaler here, get ready, primers are going to run out in Australia coming up.
Yeah.
So we're just following you, but why would you sell to us for 1 million people where there's hundreds of thousands there's hundreds of millions of people over there shooting? You'd sell it to your backyard first, wouldn't you? So before you stocked up Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm replying to a comment here in the chat room. But yeah, I've heard that that we are going to be in for a rude awakening. This was about 40 days ago. I was talking to a friend of mine who's really well connected into the ammunition side of the house, and he said that we're going to be in for a rude awakening in the next couple of months here in the United States because of, we talk about reloading supplies, and primers are so hard to get. Well, if it's hard for us to get, then that means the ammo manufacturers are having issues with it as well. So within the next couple of months, ammunition is just going to dry up really, really quick. Now, since that time, as we mentioned at the very beginning, Remington has started ramping up production now that they have been purchased through their bankruptcy. They've been purchased and are back up and running again. So that may throw a wrench into that conspiracy theory. So, we'll see.
Yes.
Got a very good question, Aaron, bring that one up from Bagara Operator. It's a good one because I was actually thinking about this question too. So he said, if I move to the States, how long until I'm eligible to purchase firearms? Do I need citizenship or permanent visa? How does it work? Because, I'd love to get over there too someday. And, you never know. Like sometimes, I remember we always give Aaron a bit of shit here on the show, Mark, because he did get accepted to the visa lottery program many years ago. I've been applying for years when it was a thing, probably up until about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure if Trump struck it off towards the end there, but Aaron actually was accepted and did not take the US government up on that deal. Shame on you.
Just everything didn't fall in line. It wasn't the right time, and you had a time limit. It's going to cost about $4,000 just to go to the next step, which they don't tell you about. And it just didn't happen. So unfortunately.
Yeah. So to answer the question, if you have papers to be here, if you have a green card and you are here as an immigrant and everything is on the up and up, then you can purchase a firearm. There is a specific section that asks for your visa information, your green card number and stuff like that, and they will go and look. Now, I believe, if I remember correctly, there is a really good video that talks about immigrants and whether or not they have the ability to purchase a firearm. And I believe it was on oh my goodness, I'm spacing the name. They still do the YouTuber of the month or YouTuber of the week. The Gun Collective. Gun Collective. Yes, yeah. They did a few years back, they were doing the legal brief segments, and they talked about specifically if an immigrant can purchase a firearm and what that process is. So I would feel a little bit safer in reviewing that video and seeing how that seeing if that answers your question better than I can. But on the 4473, there is a section for legalized immigrants, and you just fill that information out and should go through just fine.
Oh, that's
good
all right.
Good question for you here too. Now I know this is a good one actually, because we're actually talking about this prior to the show. We're just going to be careful about a few things we say, but it's from Griffo117. Now, before we answer the question, I guess what's happening with the NRA now compared to we do have some pretty good emerging organizations willing to take up the fight on the behalf of shooters, which is fantastic. This is slowly starting to become a thing. You know, there's been a lot of inaction from a lot of our organizations, especially at, a political level, especially at, a court level, willing to take on the government based on our current laws, because unfortunately, a lot of their business models are structured around that sort of thing. So, I mean, to us here in Australia, and probably including me to a certain degree, I mean, the NRA is probably 50 million times better than, if not most of our organizations here in Australia. So what are you guys seeing over there? What's happening? I mean, because ours are pretty much, except for pretty much one, the rest of them are basically sitting on their laurels, doing basically absolutely nothing, talking about writing petitions to the government when government laughs at our petitions, man. Like that's the best we can do in Australia is write a petition, get 50,000 signatures, 20,000 signatures. Governments just look, there's no one even in the chamber when they're reading out these petitions. They just laugh. They just don't care. So this is the best of our advocacy. Finally, we've got an organization, upcoming that wants to, needs more funding. But they don't, naturally, funding is a difficult thing. So what's happening with the NRA over there? What are people feeling about it? I mean, compared to what we've got, I'd love an NRA because it'd be a million times better than what we've currently got right now.
Yeah, and full disclosure is I am an NRA member. I get a membership from my dad every Christmas. That's my Christmas gift. But if he wasn't doing that, I probably wouldn't be a member. I would funnel all of my money to organizations like the Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, and Firearms Policy Coalition. Those three organizations are the top, like, up and comers that are trying to carve out a section where the NRA is kind of failing. Now, with that being said, the NRA, most of you may or may not know, they filed for bankruptcy in the last 6 months or so, but that was really a bankruptcy to get them to restructure so they could leave the East Coast. What is it? New York? Yeah, New York. They could leave New York and then refile their 501c paperwork in Texas, so they can move from New York to Texas. Now, Texas is a gun-loving state, and it's funny because everybody talks about how great Texas is, but I was like, hey, how's that constitutional carry working out for you guys down there? Because we've had it for like 6 years. So Kansas is known as the Free State. We fought a war before the Civil War to make sure that we were a non-slave state back in the 1850s. Anyway, so NRA, they're still a thing. The NRA is loved by the Democrats because they can go after them and use them as a campaign advertisement. We're going to fight the NRA because, they're the ones that are flooding the streets with guns, as if you can purchase firearms through the NRA, which you can't, which is completely ridiculous. And, all of these school shootings that we have is because of the NRA. They're the ones that are radicalizing all these people and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are so woefully uneducated about what's going on. They're kind of the bottom line is with the NRA, they're a mess right now. Wayne LaPierre has gotten into some serious trouble because of his extravagant spending, flying to Los Angeles and buying suits for $30,000, having his wife's hair done on the company dime. There was, I think here recently, there was some information that came out that said that they had purchased like brand new cars for certain board members or executives to use as company vehicles, and they're like, why? I mean, you're a civil rights organization, so why are you purchasing this stuff? They purchased a statue of the actor that used to be the former president. I can't think of his name. From Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur and
Charleston Heston.
Charleston. Yeah, they erected a bronze statue of him, and I'm just like, and that was like something like, I don't know, $40,000 or something like that. I'm just like, how many lawsuits could have been paid for that statue? I don't think Charleston Heston is happy that there's a freaking statue about him. But anyway, the NRA is still around. They are still doing some advocacy, but the majority of what we see, at least from my perspective, is fear mongering. Give us more money so we can fight, and we'll get to the fights, when things are a little bit better, type of thing. The Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, and Second Amendment Foundation, those organizations are in the trenches day in, day out. You look at some of the cases that have been won in Washington State, in California. What is it? Barrera. I can't think of the name of the case, but it's something like Barrera. It's basically the concealed carry, or it's the assault weapons ban in California. That case is being heard through the Ninth Circuit right now, and Firearm Policy Coalition and Gun Owners of America are funding that fight right now. So, front towards enemy. He had that's a pretty good comment right there.
If only we had the money. I mean, you guys got a lot of members, for a lot of these organizations over there, obviously having a larger population than we do. But, we just want to see some action over here. We just had a long history since basically 1996 of rolling over, of not doing anything, basically saying we're doing things, having, discussions with politicians which don't result in any action or any gun laws being changed. And again, we were saying this for years, Mark, me and Aaron, I vote for your pro-gun parties and this is the way forward, when that's produced basically nothing, really. Initially, there were a couple of small wins and a bit of a win here in New South Wales to hunt on public land, which was good. But like the last 15 years, as things started, probably 10 years, a decade, things are starting to get really worse. We're not getting any action on things. The politicians aren't pushing it. They've got other things in their mind now, farming, water, all those types, which is fantastic for those people. But again, we run, as you do, we run gun shows, and we're interested in guns and getting our guns back. And a lot of these organizations just don't seem to be wanting to do that, whether it's for, funding reasons, whatever, or it's a bad look in, the media. Well, we don't sort of care about that. We need people that are good, smart, know how to advocate, know how to get on radio, TV, and basically make that case to get these laws changed. And we're just not seeing that to a degree. And like I said, we do have some emerging organizations, which is great. We do see a bit of hope among the trees, so to speak, or on the horizon. So we'll guess we'll have to see how that plays out over the next 5 years. But and an interesting one here too. A lot of people say over time, they go, I want to move to Texas. And I say, like, Kansas, way better gun laws, way better. Arizona, as far as I'm aware, way better. Right. People tend to think, they've got to think of these, main states that people know, but your state's probably one of the best, if not the best, or one of anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely one of. I would not say it's the best. Even, I mean, my heart wants to say it's the best, but I mean, if I'm being reasonable, it's not the best. We have a we had a really bad governor. Even though he was a Republican, he basically bled our state dry. The coffers were completely emptied on his experiment for state spending. So as a state, we're not as well funded as we could be. Farming is our major. I don't want to say gross national product, but our gross state product is agriculture, and we were known as the wheat state. Now, something like only 30% of the crops that are being produced in the state of Kansas is actually wheat, when it used to be closer to 80%. Now it's corn and soybean, because that's where the money is for farmers. But yeah, we have some really great laws. One of the newest law that just went in here in the last about 2 weeks, I think it was about last 2 weeks, is the state legislature came out and said, we have constitutional carry, which means that we don't have to have a permit to carry. We can carry concealed, or we can open carry without a permit. The only reason why you would want or need a permit is if you travel, if you're going to go from state to state, and they recognize a Kansas permit, then you can carry in that state as well. But in the state of Kansas, you don't have to do that if you're going to be here. So that's pretty awesome. But the state came out and said, you know what? We're going to lower the concealed carry age from 21 to 18. And I'm like, God bless Kansas. And people are worried. They're like, oh, well, kids, you can't have kids, you can't have kids carrying guns. I mean, they'll be carrying guns into schools, and they'll be carrying guns into colleges. And I'm like,
yep,
yes, that's the point, Now they're like, well, they're immature and this and that. And the other is like, oh, they're immature, but you're perfectly fine sending an 18-year-old to Afghanistan to shoot to fight in a war that we shouldn't even be involved in at this point. You're perfectly fine with that. That's part of the plan, as the Joker says. But yeah, I'm in full support of that. So
that is awesome.
Anyway, while we're here too, give us a thumbs up, guys. Again, let us know that you like the stream, and we've got about 20 minutes to go. So I've got a new one for you, Aaron. Here we go. We're going to do the Fit and Fire Rapid Fire, which basically is questions coming in, guys. If we can just get like a small answer to the question, so we can get through as many as we possibly can to help people out here. Guys, lay your comments in now. Let's get them done. We've got 20 minutes to go, and we're going to do the short version answer to try and cover as many questions as you can. But Matt Cato, $10. Aaron.
Yes, well, as you know, we can't even have suppression in this country, and it is 100% because of the movies. They've seen the movies, and so they banned all suppressors. Before that, you could have them. That's why we don't have pump action shotguns, because all the bad guys movies have pump action shotguns, and that was literally why they banned the pump action shotguns at the last minute before the gun bans came in. It was an afterthought. It was bloody ridiculous. And our friend Daniel Andrews, we are really scared about primers here. I have a line on a heap and wondering if I should be buying. I'd buy every single one that you can.
Yep.
Every single one. Because it's coming. If America's running short, we're going to run short, and America is not going to restock Australia before it restocks themselves, which is 100% understandable.
Here we go. I'll give this one to Mark, but he said from Shooting Stuff Australia, but worst and best, at least maybe probably in your state, worst and best gun law or issue that you're having. Best thing about Kansas, worst thing about Kansas in regards to firearm laws.
That's pretty tough, because we really don't have too many laws. The biggest problem is one of the biggest cities that we have here in the region is Kansas City, and we have part of it is in Kansas and part of it is in Missouri. If I find a really good deal on a rifle or a pistol in Missouri, on the Missouri side of Kansas City, I can't purchase it. I have to have them transfer it over to an FFL in the state of Kansas, and then pay a transfer fee and then buy it, which is frustrating. Like I said, best law in the state of Kansas, by far, constitutional carry. I don't have to have a permit if I want to carry, because bears are a thing. Not here, but
Well, how much is it for a permit to conceal carry in your state?
Let's see, total price, because typically you have to go through a concealed carry course, and then you have to pay a licensing fee for the state and the county. So total price ends up being about $120. So and that. Yeah, it's not too bad, but I would like to see that price dramatically lowered.
Do you only go do the course once and that's it? It's a lifetime thing?
Correct. That is correct. Mm-hmm. Now the Attorney General does suggest that you renew, that you get a refresher every time you renew, but it's not required. So.
Right. Yeah, we don't have any luxuries like that over here. So I take it's one of those courses that you can't fail anyway if you pay your money.
Yeah.
Sort of like our firearms safety courses over here before we get our license.
William Sturr says Indiana is also seen to be a great 2A state. I guess the downfall is the red flag law, but the majority of Indiana counties will not and have not enforced this law. In Indiana, an 18-year-old can carry a gun. Yeah, absolutely. And people, just remember in the comments, guys, we're seeing a bit of tomfoolery going about. Let's just keep it reasonable and keep it within the law, please. We don't want to be, people are watching this stream, so please remember that at all times. It'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah,
and Tommy, go with this. Old enough to fight for your country, then why not? Exactly. If you're prepared to send your men and women overseas to fight, they should be allowed to have a gun when they come back home. That's for sure.
Yeah, Mick, a good one for Mark too. Mick Beckers. Let's go for 9mm, Mark. What are you paying for a box of ammo in the US at the moment, and when you can get access to it? So, what are you seeing? 9mm, 223, 308. What's the go there?
All right, so real quick, 9mm steel case, you're looking right around that 50-cent mark per round. Brass is somewhere around 60 to 70, close to 80%. Personal defense rounds, 9mm is $1 or more. 5.56 steel case, again, probably right around that 70-cent mark. And then brass is running 80, 85 cents per round. 308. The store here just has a can of it, and I think it was running about $1.25 or more a round. So wow. yeah.
You guys aren't, it's it looks like it's affecting all parts of the world, pretty much, not just Australia.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
It's Australian price is what you're paying there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Mm-hmm.
What's
Colin?
Sorry, go on.
Colin Penfold. Mark, what do you think of the Humble 12-gauge shotgun?
Love it. Absolutely love it. As Clint Smith from Thunder Ranch says, a pistol will put bullets into people. A rifle will put bullets through people. A 12-gauge shotgun with the proper load and size of shell will take meat off of a person and throw it on the ground. So that is why I absolutely love this shotgun. I'm not as experienced or capable with a shotgun as I am with a pistol or rifle, but I hope to change that soon.
What shotgun do you own?
I have a Mossberg 590A1 and a Remington 870, which is my turkey gun. I use it just solely for upland bird hunting and for turkeys, and I haven't shot that one in probably 3 years or more.
When you decided you shouldn't be making hunting videos.
It's about right. Yeah.
almost impossible to film yourself hunting. I've figured that out. Like, unless it's long range varminting on like prairie dogs or woodchucks or something. Yeah, it's like deer is, unless they're out in the open, it's almost impossible. I got a question mark too. Just someone was asking before, but we flicked past it. What's the normal price of like primers, large and small primer rifle for, like when they're not expensive, like the normal price? Because we pay about what, Aaron, about what, proper match primers, probably about $90, maybe $95 if I'm wrong. Correct me in the comments, guys. $85 to say $95, somewhere around there, like per 1,000. That's per 1,000, I think.
Yeah, no, we're paying well below that. I haven't purchased primers myself, but prior to the shenanigans in the last 14 months or so, I think you could probably buy 1,000 primers, $20-$30 maybe.
God damn.
It was about 2 to 3 cents per primer. So now it's running 12 to 15 easy. So
Mick just said $90 per 1,000 here. So take about what, 25, 30. We're looking at probably what, $60, $65, something like that to be like, American prices or whatever, I'd say. So so you're still doing much better than we are. So put it that way.
Even the price of your guns, mate, the guns that we can buy over here that you pay is just half the price. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
A little exclusive is I'm working on a video right now on the top 5 pistols under $500. It's a little controversial because the highest costing 2 pistols that I have, a lot of people are like, there's no way you can do it, but I actually did purchase these 2 pistols for under $500. The list is the Taurus G3C, the Beretta APX, the Canic TP9 Elite SC, which is their subcompact version, the CZ P10C, and then the Glock 48 are my 5, and I purchased all of those at $4.99 or less. So yeah.
Here, this was an interesting one. He said, I don't reload, it's too expensive, I'd rather have NATO ammo. But I think from what I saw, he's in Canada. But in Australia, I mean, I was buying I bought it for a friend the other week, some 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain ELD match, and a box of 20 over here was about $72 a box. So I think $62 a box. No, it was 72 because I was paid just over $3.7 to 21. I paid $208 and something for 60 rounds of the 140 grain ELD match factory ammo. So if most people have to reload here because it's just too expensive, but now because people are starting to reload, we're increasing the cost of powder, primers, projectiles, especially more so, which is just killing our reloading benefits and our saving of money because most people can't afford to. I mean, I'd go through 60 rounds in a weekend, boom. You'd go through that, and sometimes if you're long-range shooting in an afternoon, there's $210 gone just like that.
Yeah, 6.5 Creedmoor was usually running somewhere about 90 cents to $1 per round here, depending on what brand and type you are buying. But now it's pushing $2 to $2.25 per round if you can even find it. So usually somewhere around that $40 to $50 mark per 20. So it's got pretty expensive. Lucky enough, I purchased a box. I mean, not a lot, but I purchased a box of 100 rounds about 2 years ago, and thought I was going to get into precision rifle shooting, and just had never gotten around to it. Naturally, it's nowhere I can't even afford to do that right now. But so I've got at least 90 rounds of 6.5 Creedmoor that I can use for just hunting purposes, and that'll last me for years.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hornady Precision Hunter over here, $80 a box. And sorry to Joe Morgan, he's actually in America. I didn't want to call him a Canuck, so they don't like that over there. So don't want to say they're Canadian when they're actually American, and vice versa. So sorry about that, Joe. I thought you said something about Canada there, so I apologize for that. But I mean, NATO 223, what? So 5.56, $50 in Melbourne. I guess is that a box of 20? Or is that more of a box, Harps? Let us know. What's that?
It's going to be at least a box of 50.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. You're basically getting 5.56 or 223 for about $1 a pop over here. Last time I bought a few months ago.
Yeah, that's good quality 5.56, especially 5.56 NATO, 55 or 62 grain. You're looking at about 80 cents per round. I had a friend of mine send me an ad. He's like, "Hey man, here's some 5.56 for you," and it was 62 grain tracers, and it was like $1.50 a round. And I was like,
"Oh,
yeah, I'm good. I don't, I don't need tracers."
Of course, they're banned here.
Sorry. Yeah. Just put your quick fire questions, guys. Bang them out now very quickly for Mark. If you got some questions, you want to know something, we're going to do some quick fire questions. Just, very easy and quick answers. So guys, let us know in the comments, quickly if you got any questions. And what's coming up for Fit and Fire anyway, Mark? What are you up to? What's the plan? What do you want to do with the channel?
Yeah, I've got so much. I got so much stuff that I'm working on. Like I just talked about that video on the best 5 guns under $500. That's actually not going to be on my channel. It's actually going to be on gun.deals. That is a website that is a really cool website that kind of funnels people. It's basically a search engine for guns, right? So you type in a gun and it gives you a list of all the different places that you can purchase that gun or ammunition from. It's actually really great idea. So I've got that. So naturally I have that I'll be doing for them, but I will be doing a breakdown on all of that on my channel as well, doing individual reviews of each one of those guns. Done some already. So I've got to do the Beretta APX. I've got to do the Glock 48 and the CZ P10C. Let's see. Working on a awesome trip to Phoenix to meet up with Jim Fuller, who is the godfather of the American AK. And I've got my receiver in for my AK-74, which is a 1988 Ishmash kit. So I'm taking a trip down there over a weekend, and he's going to help me or do it himself, one of the two. Hopefully he'll help me do it. Build my first AK, which will be a really great idea. Don't know if I'll be able to do any type of filming on that. We're still working on the specifics on whether or not that is going to be allowed because of a lot of things that he's getting ready to get into over the summer. Let's see what else. Just launched just a couple of days ago, did a review of the Palmetto State Armory AK-103, doing a comparison between it and one of the older versions with the GF3. Talked about shotguns. I've got my Mossberg. I could do some stuff on the Mossberg stuff. And then from there, I mean, realistically, I'm going to try to do some more training type of videos. So helping new shooters with, what does proper stance look like? What does a proper grip look like? And just those little types of things to help out newbies.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, this sounds awesome. Yeah, guys, if you don't forget, you can sign up to his channel, Mark's channel, in the description there, because he does make really good videos. You're only one of about 4 people are watching guns on YouTube.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. There's only like about 4 people I watch.
A bit, like not yours. I mean, other people I watch them. It's the same stuff. Been the same stuff for 10 years. So, like any of us, we always like a bit of variety. Everyone likes variety, and stuff like that. Quick one, Mark. I guess we've only got 5 minutes left. So, like in less than 20 seconds, what's the best way to make an anti-gunner change their mind?
Drop them in the middle of Detroit.
Nice. Yeah. What's your EDC, Mark?
So I'm in transition right now. I'm waiting for a holster to come in. My normal EDC is interchanged between two different pistols. One is a Glock 19 Gen 4 with an RMR red dot attached to it, but I'm upgrading that to a Glock 19 Gen 5 MOS with a Holosun 507C. And then the other pistol, which is kind of like my gem carry, is a SIG P365.
Nice. Yeah, the SIGs are great. One of my favorite guns.
Yeah, for that small of a gun, I shoot that gun more accurate than most of the pistols that I own, and that's including all the full size stuff. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yep. Good super chat, Aaron from Fur Reader. Did you read that one out?
No, I'll get down there because as soon as I click on down, I lose all these questions. So I will get there. Is there appearance laws in the USA? So basically, we have appearance laws over here. If the cops don't like the look of a gun, you're not allowed to own it.
No, not too much. There are certain things that are considered a destructive device that we are not permitted to have without a tax stamp, with basically a permission slip from the government. But by and large, most everything that you can think of, you can own. So, yeah.
Mark, what do you think of Larry Cora? Is that
you know who that is? I don't know who that is.
No, I don't know who that is.
Not sure. Yeah.
Mark, what do Americans think about some of the new Lithgow rifles? Have obviously gone overseas. They're an Australian-made rifle. Know anything about them? Is anyone talking about them over there? No.
I have not heard anything about those. I would be very interested to check those out. I'm always interested in new rifles and to see what other countries are doing. But unfortunately, I haven't seen anything of those yet.
Well, I got several videos on them on my channel, so you can go through and see those. The performing, even the long range one, I'm popping fire extinguishers off at over a kilometer.
Another good one from Dr. Cat Milk.
Love that, dude.
Preferred holster.
Man, that's a great question. The one that I use is just from a local guy, which he doesn't even make holsters anymore. But I do really like Tier 1, LES Concealment, and let's see, Wolf Hollow Tactical are the three that I typically send people to. Those are the ones I really do like.
Cool. Right, we got a $5 super chat from Fur Reader. Mark, have you shot straight pull rifles, and would you recommend any? I suppose there's no point having straight pulls.
Why?
Yeah. Basically, they're a manual semi-auto.
Right. Yeah. Right. So in the state of California, it's very difficult for you to own an AR-15 without modifying it past of what it should be modified for. So there's a company called Cali Key that has developed basically a system that blocks the gas from operating the bolt. So it becomes a straight pull system. So I have shot technically an AR-15 in a straight pull design. I think it does a great job from an American's perspective as to work on failure to extract drills. So you pull the trigger, it goes bang, you pull the trigger again, it doesn't do anything, tap, rack, do it again. And it's a drill. I found that extremely useful. For those people in California, it bypasses all of the different laws for you owning a AR-15. So you don't have to have a bullet button, or you don't have to have a fin on your pistol grip and everything, because it's a bolt action rifle at that point. It's not an assault rifle. And then it makes it extremely easy for you to change out the bolt and, an actual AR-15.
Well,
this is a funny one too. Carbon-based Lifeform says his everyday carry is a hanky and a mint. Law-abiding, LOL. So to blow his nose and a refreshing mint after he's blown his nose. So that's basically it in Australia.
Well, you have to put it in today's terms. A handkerchief that you just blew your nose into could be a deadly weapon.
Yeah, a snot grenade, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, with the with the pandemic going,
All right, guys, one last question. We're up to 9:00 p.m. Give us one good question. Hit us up really quickly. Let's go. Give us one good final quick question for Mark. But while you're thinking about that, give us a thumbs up on the stream.
I've already done it.
Let Mark know you liked him coming on the show tonight. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Aaron's channel. So while you're doing that, let's just see if we can bring up one very good quick question. Come on, guys. Throw one at us. A good one. Let's go. It'd be great to finish off the stream on a high. We're doing pretty well tonight. We've had a great turnout, which is absolutely fantastic. And it's been good having Mark on the show. Cat Milk says, is cereal a soup? And I said, no, I don't think it is, man. I think it's two different things. But do I own any different shirts, they say? What's wrong with this shirt, guys? It's got little birds on it. I don't see a problem with it. I thought it was a good buy when I purchased it from the shop. So thank you for putting hit on me tonight about my shirt, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. I will try and have a
I see a good question from MB. Will Joe Biden see the year out?
Good one.
My answer is no. And I have been saying that since last September. I said I gave him 100 days, that he wouldn't last 100 days. I have extended that to 6 months. So I don't expect him to see past August before he is either removed through the 25th Amendment because he's too incoherent and he can't climb stairs, or he passes away because he is old as dirt. Yeah. So that's my guess.
Yeah, or I just see Camilla just stabbing him in the back and taking his job.
Well, that's what I mean by when I think he might mysteriously contract COVID.
Well, we should do probably, talking about that in a couple of months. I think Aaron should probably have you back on the stream again, Mark, if you're interested, and we can, talk about that sort of stuff. We didn't really hit that tonight, which is something I probably wanted to talk about as well. There was another quick question. Someone said, hey, Jace, the people that are watching and not giving thumbs up are probably left-hard stalkers. Great show, you boys, as usual. So thank you for that. Absolutely fantastic. I'll do this one. I don't think there's probably going to be much of an answer. You're going to know this one, Mark, but you might. Is there any place in the US to find a deactivated Bren 10? I don't know. Great question. I mean,
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. And if I was a betting man, you probably could find a operational one in Nevada, in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Best prepper gun.
22 long rifle of any type. I mean, it's good for hunting small game. It's good for some type of self-defense, at least for you to break contact and get away. They're usually, ammunition's easy to carry and light. So
that's what I would have said as well.
The stream, man, it just goes so quick. We don't realize how fast an hour and a half goes. So I think we probably, if Mark was interested, get him on the show again in the future, a couple of months down the track, and we can talk about Biden's cognitive mental breakdown over the next 6 months. Hopefully, depends whether you like him or not. I was a big fan of Trump. Aaron knows that. So hopefully he's going to be back in 4 years, smacking and giving this media a bit of a smackdown again. But, we can have him on the show again and talk more about what's happening around that. And, again, different things that happen in the industry over the next, say, couple of months, I reckon, Aaron.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always up for it. You just, right now is a great time. In June would be even a better time. I could come on anytime at that point. But absolutely. I would love to come back on.
What time is it there? What time is it there now?
It is 6:03 a.m.
Okay, wow. So you're about 4:30, 4:45, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, well, really, really do appreciate you getting up so early, Mark. So what last words do you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to not only you guys for having me on, but everybody in the chat room. You guys have been great. I see MB, he says, from one mark to another. Thanks for being on the stream. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always great to see and hear things from a different side of the earth.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. I've always enjoyed talking to you, Mark. It's always been a good laugh.
$80 super chat. Mate, you guys are going to get my shirt off soon if you keep those $80 super chats. And trust me, you don't want that to happen. Mark's fit and fire. I'm fat and fire. So,
well, I do have to say I didn't prepare for this, and I didn't prepare the last time that Aaron and I were on a live chat. But I promise you, the next time that we will, next time you have me on, whenever that is, I will begin the show with some toast and Vegemite.
Yes.
You still got that?
I do. I still have it.
When are you going to shoot it up in a video?
I need to. It has not moved 1 inch from the last time.
If I could give you one tip before we go, put some, even if you've got like a griller, I don't know what you call it. There's a griller over there. Like you put some bread, you put a bit of, what would you call it? Vegemite on there, or you put your cheese first, then a bit of Vegemite, put it under the griller, let it just bubble down. Oh man, that is some good shit. You'll love that, dude. So it's the best way to have it. Not just on bread, but a bit of cheese, a bit of Vegemite under the griller, toast up that bread, mate. If you don't like that, man, we're not going to have you on the show.
Well, I'll give Mark one thing. He has done better than our friend Hootie. Hootie shot it up and was dry wrenching, but Mark did actually taste it on his live stream with me.
Very salty.
Yeah. Well, I like to put salt on it when I put it in the griller as well afterwards.
Wow.
On top.
Good.
Yeah.
God bless you guys.
But I do want to thank Overland for the $80 super chat. Thank you very much, Overland 4x4. Sorry, just got back from dinner. We'll continue to watch and we'll rewatch after what I missed. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. That's awesome. And we got a second one from him. Another $80 one. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Here's some more because I missed most of the stream. Oh, thank you so much, Overland.
Wow,
You
that's
really,
amazing.
really do appreciate it.
I hate to prolong this any longer. You guys talked about videos up and coming. Overlanding is something that I'm getting into. I've already purchased a bed rack for my truck. I have a 2018 Tacoma, and I purchased a bed rack and a rooftop tent. So that is my new adventure over the summer, is doing a whole bunch of overlanding. So I will probably put out some videos about that.
Now that'd be cool.
I'm itching to pull my shirt off. No, that's not the case. No. Not in this lifetime anyway, guys. Not for you on the stream. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. It's been fantastic. Eric can wrap it up on the show.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Mark. Really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We do have a lot of fun. And thank you for everyone for watching. I really do appreciate watching and enjoying it. And thank you for everybody who donated to the show. That will be going towards the ammo for the videos. Just like the video I released last week on the new Predator straight pull shotgun that you guys seem to have really liked. That was the world's first look at the shotgun. So you can go find that video that I just released. And please go sign up to Mark's YouTube channel. He's got a great website as well. I looked at today. I didn't realize he had a website. Fantastic website, great channel, and he's always producing good stuff on Instagram and Facebook as well. So thank you guys, and we shall see you in 7 days. Good night.
Good night.